Alright, action RPG enjoyers, this is huge. We have, no joke, a brand new class coming out in the next big update. And on top of that, I am absolutely blown away with 100, yes, 100 brand new uniques and 100 brand new gems to play with and 20 new skills. You're seeing one of the brand new classes here. This is going to be the Huntress. So we're going to have a lot to talk about, and I want to just go over these kind of rapid fire really fast because these are just amazing. Path of Exile literally just dominated and just basically just announced that they are the best action RPG with this update. It is huge. All right. So, first off, when does the brand new update that you can play this brand new class start? It's going to be happening on April 4th. The new season or league, if you want to call it that, is called Dawn of the Hunt. However, there's a very important thing that I'm going to tell you guys at the very end that you guys are not going to believe, and it's really good news. So first off, there is one new class, but there are 5 new class ascendancies. Path of Exile has these class ascendancies that can basically be a new class, and I think that that is really cool. And that's not even counting, of course, the ascendancies that we're getting with the brand new Huntress. So I already talked about the 100 new gems and new uniques, and they show off a couple, and I'll kind of show you guys some of those as well. There's going to be lots of brand new endgame content. The runes that you would socket in your pieces of gear now have tiers. Before, you'd always roll like the percent ones. That's why physical was always kind of the more popular thing to go for. But now you're going to be able to have tiers of these runes. Therefore, you're going to be able to get upgrades. So it's going to be better. There are going to be 7 new like biome in terms of like the maps that they're going to be able to show off. There's these new talismans, and again, I'll mention what some of these are with images. I just wanted to give you guys some raw gameplay here so you guys can visually see the new character here. There are also these brand new wisps. So how it kind of works is, think of it kind of like goblins in Diablo, where like they kind of just run away, but anything that they touch will juice up that monster, making the monster stronger, getting more like affixes, so to speak, but they will drop better loot. There are also these brand new stone monoliths that if you interact with, you're going to click on multiple of these, and then there's going to be summoning a bunch of bosses that will just rapid fire shoot out at you. So it looks like this is going to be something very challenging. There's also these new fractured lakes that will give you some kind of like a mirrored object. There's also one awesome thing with this. There is the ability to tame beasts with a brand new class. So it's not necessarily like a summon class, but you can tame a beast, which I think is really, really cool with the class. There's also going to be a brand new Essence Mega Boss. And then on top of that, there is going to be rogue exiles appearing in maps. This is almost like a pseudo PvP, which is something really cool. So what happens in the maps, by the way, they're talking about the new ascendancies over here, but the rogue exiles can show up on a map, and what's going to happen is they can engage with you. Now, they are going to be having loot that is similar to players. They can have everything that's related to whatever a player can equip. Check out that new ascendancy for the Huntress, where you can actually equip 3 rings, so ingenuity. Pretty good. But this is almost like pseudo PvP with the rogue exiles. They'll come out, and again, they're going to have stats and gear that your character can have as well. So these are going to be quite challenging, but if you can take them down, I'm assuming that you can get the loot that they drop. So if one of them maybe has like a really, really good item, that'll be very exciting to go ahead and actually achieve. They're also introducing fractured orbs. These are really great for crafting. What this allows you to do is get a item, and then one of the mods on the item you can randomly roll, and then it can never be modified. So you can keep on throwing on chaos orbs or exalted orbs, and that thing will never essentially change, which I think is really, really cool. They've also mentioned tablets. There's going to be 1/3 of the amount of the tablets to insert on the towers in terms of like how frequent you're going to be able to insert the tablets. So it's a lot less towers. They said 1/3 is the amount, but they're going to be way more powerful. There's actually these tablets to let you kind of jump maps, so you can skip out on certain things, which is really cool. The towers are actually going to have brand new bosses that you're going to be able to take down. Each one has its own boss, which I think is really cool. Another thing that they're making adjustments for the endgame, there are going to be 6 portals per map, but if you modify the map, you are going to actually make it so it can go down to 1. So it'll be kind of like think of it like making it harder anyways. Another really nice change for the endgame is going to be the pinnacle bosses. They do not remove XP on death, because I know that this is kind of like an annoyance thing when you go in and you just die again and again on the PoE bosses. Shoutouts to Maven for that, for just destroying everyone's XP. But specifically, it's the ability, so you don't gain XP though from the pinnacle boss. So there's kind of a downside with it, but they don't remove XP when you rip. So I think that that's kind of cool. They're showing off one of the new ascendancies that you can actually build your like armor here. Really cool. And then the reliquary keys are being added. So these are going to be like items that kind of have like a foil on its artwork. And then on top of that, they're actually adding recombination, which I will show you guys again. And now the biggest thing that I want to mention here that I was actually really surprised by with the new league, you don't actually need to do a full reset here, which I was really surprised by. If you want to engage all the forms of the new content, you can just play your character that you've already played, so you don't have to reset. Now, they did say if you want a fresh economy, though, you could go ahead and do that, because I know the prices of Exalted to Divine is, well, pretty high right now in terms of the amount required. It's out of control. There's actually going to be a new, I think these are the specters for the summoner over here, but I'm really excited to see how this goes with this brand new ascendancy. And then I want to show you guys some of the other stuff that I took some notes for. So let me go and show you guys that. So these are the new talismans that I was kind of mentioning before, where it says like the one that I actually really liked a lot was this boar talisman. So it says place into an empty rune socket in a weapon or armor to apply its effect. Getting rage on melee hit is a pretty big deal. And since the new class, by the way, if you're wondering, is the huntress like melee or ranged, think of it kind of like the Amazon in Diablo 2. It's basically you can play melee or range with this. You can like throw the spear and then you have like a shield here. But I thought that this one was really good. Corrupted blood can't be inflicted on you. These are, again, really, really good stats to actually have in the game. This was the new like a map with the rune system that I was talking about, where like there's these like rune stones that you click on, and then if you engage with them, there's going to be these bosses that can come out, and yeah, you're just basically doing a boss gauntlet if you can find all of these. These are part of the brand new maps. These are kind of like the like it was Fractured Lake is what it was called. Basically, towards the end, you can get some of the items that will let you have these downsides, but then there's also some upsides. You can see there's like minus prefix plus suffix. Most people probably want some prefix. You get the extra spirit, right? That's a really good one to have. But if you're going for maybe an attribute stacker, maybe you can look at like plus suffixes on some rings. This could be really, really good, again, for lots of different builds. So think of it kind of like a Calandra, which was one of the leagues we got. So you can see over here one of the items. So it says -1 prefix plus 1 suffix. That is like the implicit on it. And that's kind of cool. You can see there's a +3 to all level minion skills, which is quite great. This is a brand new like super boss that can kind of come out if you engage with like the essences. So I think they're probably going to add a boss mechanic to each one. Now this one is pretty big for anyone that's interested in crafting. Crafting some of the craziest stuff in the game was always with these recombination things. So it's kind of like merging two items together. And because they're also allowing fractured items, which is basically, think of it this way, it randomly rolls on one of the stats. So I'm going to use this as an example here, because this is actually a really, really big thing, especially if you're interested in crafting in the game, because Path of Exile 2's crafting, I'm going to keep it real with you guys, it's not as good as PoE 1 right now. But things are about to change because they're adding a lot more stuff to it. So this is with Expedition is how you're going to gain these currencies, and then you're going to be able to use the recombination device here. And you unlock it by just doing an Expedition. So first off, how the thing works, to explain the recombination, it's basically merging the items together. So fingers crossed, you have some RNG, because it's gonna like RNG one of the items, but it is kind of cool that you're going to be able to essentially get a bunch of like the mods that you may want on the item. But it just merges them, kind of smashes them together, and if it already has 3 prefixes on both of them, then it's going to randomly roll. So ideally, I would say you probably try to get items that only that have open sockets over here, right, in terms of like the prefixes or suffixes. I think I can probably make a whole video on this, but if you guys have played it before, it's going to come back, and I'm hoping that it's at full power. I don't know like if it requires a certain like item level to roll certain things. Which one does it take? I don't know any of these things as far as this goes for PoE 2. However, this is a really powerful way to craft, but I want to go over the fracturing orb. I'm not sure if we're going to just get fractured items in general, because this is huge for crafting, or just even for beginners to just get a craft and that you can just throw an essence on. And that's like a very easy way to kind of craft in the game, because Path of Exile 2 is pretty hostile for crafting. But I wanted to kind of mention this. So think of this item right here. We're going to look at the Sorrow Core Expert Varnished Crossbow. If I was to hit this with the Fractured Orb, I don't know what the requirements are on PoE 2, like if you have to have at least 3 mods or 4 mods. But basically, it's going to have one of these turn into gold. basically, and the gold cannot be modified. So like, for example, this one, the suffix that's actually good because every stat here is kind of over here. It's the +5 to 6 level of projectile skills. Attack speed's okay, but like this one's like the valuable stat, right? Like this low tier accuracy, whatever, you want to roll it off. So basically it's going to roll that in gold, and then you can keep on chaos orbing, or you could just randomize it to your heart's content, and it'll always keep that mod. So that's going to be pretty cool. And also they mentioned with the essences, you can actually get greater essences by vol orbing essence monsters. So this is a good way to get those greater essences, as essences were way too expensive. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and continue kind of playing, and I'm going to kind of wrap up my thoughts in this video. There's a lot of crazy stuff with these new ascendancies. I was going to try to pause and go over all of the new ascendancy effects. The problem is they didn't show every node, and so it was kind of pointless to go over it because there could be a node that's way better. So if we look at these like too early on, it could be kind of just a waste of time. But nonetheless, if you are interested in playing a summoner, there is again the idea of, I believe, the specters are going to be coming back to the game. They automatically respawn. Certain monsters, by the way, will absorb more of your spirit than others, so I guess that's kind of like a trade-off over there. So you can see bind specter here, and you can see which ones cost which spirit. And I like that they actually have the text, because if you've played a minion build and you've played specters before, one of the most annoying things is that sometimes you accidentally get the wrong enemy, especially if you're using like the desecrated grounding. Before, when you'd go for like the monkeys, you want like the bigger one, right? And sometimes it spawns the smaller ones. It's annoying. So that's going to be really cool. But again, brand new bosses, brand new challenges. I think overall this is so crazy that we're getting this much. And like, I want to go over this real quick because a lot of the stuff they kind of just mentioned in their little live stream. But what I was just super blown away by, again, 20 brand new skills. Keep in mind, you don't have to play the Huntress to use the brand new skills. Path of Exile is a flexible game. Majority of the skills, unless it's on the Ascendancy, you can use for any class. So you might be able to mess around with a bunch of these other ones, and they have little showcases of the skills here, but I'm not going to go read every single one because gameplay is the most important. But then we have the new Ascendancy class. We have the Warrior Smith of Katava, which you get to build your own armor. Let me move my face out of the way here. So yeah, Warrior Smith of the Katava over here. This is where you get to build your own armor. Then we have the Tactician over here that can boost up your allies as well. And then we have the Lich. So it's more of a summoning based class over here. And then we have brand new skills. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention here that is pretty cool. You can actually summon Roa to actually mount. So there is mounted combat, which I think is pretty cool. I'm curious to see kind of how it smoothly plays, because there is going to be a, like, you know, hop on animation. Does it give you more movement speed? What are like the downsides with it, if there are any? But if you can just like mount up, and I'm assuming they're going to add more mounts in the future, but yeah, mounted combat is going to be a thing. Yes, like I said, this is the thing that I was just like, oh my gosh, Path of Exile cooked with this. 100 new support gems is just mind-blowing. To see that like this game is still in early access, and they said it was like 3 months since like they released the early access, right? Like, this is basically one season in any game. 100 support gems is crazy. Like, that's too mind-blowing. And then they're like, oh, by the way, 100 brand new uniques. And you guys know I love uniques in Path of Exile because they completely change up builds. Here are some of them. I'm just going to let you guys kind of see them briefly. Keep in mind, these may be subject to change, but I like seeing all of the Path of Exile 1 items get kind of added back in. Sometimes they're honestly nerfed. I'm hoping we get Impulsa, otherwise, well, I'm just going to keep with Herald of Ice, but that's really cool. Then I already mentioned the Wisp. I already mentioned like these new little megaliths, these little like rune stones that you click on, and then I already showed you guys this, but there are more other ones, but they mentioned you got to play the game to see it, and I respect them for that. I think that is quite cool. And then again, I mentioned the Rogue Exiles. This is actually one of my favorite things. I've always wanted a game to have PvP for action RPGs, and it looks like they're almost kind of testing it out with these new Rogue Exiles, because they can run the same things that you have, and so we'll see how this goes. I think that this could be kind of the opening up the doors for potential PvP here. I have always wanted. They also mentioned that you can actually open up these strong boxes to make them harder, and I guess there's going to be some like new like mega like elite that you can fight at the very end. They mentioned that some of these like endgame corruption mechanics that you can cleanse, and the most important thing is again these fracture orbs. These are going to be so. Oh, it actually revealed it. It's 4. It has to have at least 4. Okay, yeah, because if it only had one or two mods and you could just fracture orbit, that'd be a little bit too easy. But I still think that that's not that bad of an idea. And then here's like another item over here. You can see it, basically that thing in gold can't change. These are going to be probably the most expensive items in the game, by the way. That's what I'm assuming. Fracturing orbs are very, very powerful. And then I mentioned also the tablets, and then you can get the greater essences off of these. And again, that is the release date, guys. Really looking forward to it, and I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of this like big mega update? Again, April 4th. We're going to be locking in I'm obviously going to be playing the Huntress. I'm curious to know if you guys plan to play anything new. But yeah, you can see that they're showing off the mount. And again, you can do mounted combat. I'm assuming you just move faster, but just to be able to be on a bow. And I'm so excited that we can still play all of our older builds and play all of the new stuff. But my real question to you guys, honestly, is going to be, do you guys plan to reset the league? Like, are you going to be playing a character on the new league? Now, remember, you don't have to play on the new league to experience the new content. They said that you can experience new content without making a new character, but it will give you a brand new, fresh economy. So, like, that's kind of good. But again, I'm not going to build like another like older character on the new league, because I would rather just show you guys, like, you know, end game gameplay of like the brand new stuff. So I'll probably do that and fight some of the new bosses with my super like godly geared character already, and then what we can do is we will make the Huntress. That's at least my plan. But yeah, I'm curious to know, do you guys plan to make a fresh start character, or do you guys plan to play on like legacy or standard, whatever they're going to be calling it? But yeah, that's the news, man. It is huge, and I cannot wait to play. I want to say this announcement is like an 11 out of 10. It was already going to be like a 10 out of 10 because there's going to be the brand new class, right? There's always, you know, something to look forward to, because you also have a bunch of brand new bosses. There's brand new uniques. Like, this was already great, but then here there's 100 new skill gems and 100 new uniques. I'm overwhelmed with it. Like, that's like an 11 out of 10 announcement, but really looking forward to it. And if you guys are new here and you want to see any gameplay, build guide and stuff, we'll be doing a lot more Path of Exile 2 stuff very soon in the future. And I will catch you guys in the next video, but subscribe if you're new if you want to check that out. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're brand new here and you want to check out like my previous build, we have a really great ice shot build, and I'll link it down below. Anyways, take care, and I'll see you exiles in the next video. Peace out. Those updates looking good, man.